man.
It wasn't for I'd run on that stuff now. It's high octane.
Hello. All right, we
Day
should be live.
Give me the day stuff. So
Yeah.
Are we?
mix it with my coffee.
We're gonna be live here in just a moment. Now I can
Okay,
talk,
hold on.
but-
I can't even see you guys yet. I'm trying to because
Oh,
I haven't used to
what?
restream. Oh, okay.
Oh
Hold
my
on.
goodness.
No, I know what.
We can see
No, I
you.
know what I can do. I'm not live yet, so I don't have to worry about. Okay, let me move. I've got. Ugh.
Yeah, you can't see
Okay,
any
there
of
we
us.
go.
We're not here.
I mean, I can see you, but like, you were over here. Now I can
move
see
some
like, now
tabs
I'm in
around.
front
You
of
got to move some tabs around. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I
it's
get it.
nice to finally meet you guys.
Yes.
Yeah, no
I'm
kidding.
excited to do so. Like you two, and Walter and Will, and just like kind of your whole group. I don't know how I stumbled across you all, but I did. And
Why? Because we're starting
there's
trouble
just-
all the time.
probably, and that's usually like where I feel like I find myself gravitating towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to start some good trouble of my own, so I'm not here for
Yeah.
like passive bullshit.
Yeah.
I just you guys get it. So
Yeah.
it's
We're-
just
we're
so nice
angry.
to have people to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
that get it,
are we live
because-
now? I was wondering if I should still.
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, keep going, Natasha. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I was just saying it's just great to have people here on Substack that just get it. You know what I mean? It's been
Yeah.
validating, and it's
Yeah.
just been cathartic and scary, but like
Yeah.
it's cathartic. I think it's like a release. And so
Yeah.
I feel like happy that I'm allowed to vent here, and that people here understand my vents, and I mean, not to say I'm right all the time, but you know what I mean? Like we just see the bigger picture, the deeper picture. And I just love
Right.
being able to bounce ideas off of each other and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's
Well,
awesome.
and then
Absolutely.
the extent to which they've tried to hide both. I mean, the Democrats are guilty of this too, but hiding the fact that we shouldn't think this way. And it's just sort of like a lot of people think this once we actually start talking. And Substack's been great for that, where you can interact with them. It's like, wait a minute, what do you think about this? This is what they're saying. What do you think? And people are like, yeah, that's BS. What they're saying is so. Yeah, and I'm so loud. I could just scream to the whole world. If they can't cut me off, they can't stop this. Ah! It's on now.
And so, everybody who's joining us here on Substack and YouTube, wherever you are, welcome to the Friday Rant. We're back. We have the crew plus another wonderful guest we're so very happy to have today. Natasha, thank you for joining us.
of
Arturo,
course.
Walter, and myself, who's been awake for 7 minutes as of right now.
Yeah, you're still in
let's
the dream
go!
world.
Thank you,
Manifest
everybody.
the new reality, Shane.
How
Manifest it.
has everyone been? Arturo,
Shitty, bad. It's been bad. Arturo.
I mean, for me, it's been
Just,
pretty. For me, it's been pretty rough, man.
yeah.
The whole situation with Cuba, and I got a lot of.
Yeah.
Y'all know I have a lot of family and friends and colleagues there, and
I definitely want to
yeah,
give
it's
you some
it's
time
been
to
really
talk about that
trying,
today.
and I'm wondering if all that stress is kind of what made me sick, but
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's no telling. At this
Yeah.
point, it's just been a rough week for us over here in our house. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, for sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that, Arturo. And yeah, it is. I mean, the constant mental pressure of what we're going through right now, like just trying to, and then like something will happen. Like the other day, our freezer stopped working, and that was like, fuck. It was like,
Dude,
not
that's the
now.
worst.
Yeah, it's
That's
just like
so-
something small like that. And it's like all I had to do was unplug it for 5 minutes and then it was fine. But it was like just complete breakdown. So we're all just up against the wall. And then
Yeah.
they get your family involved. And then, yeah, I mean, in ICE there are reports they're leaving Minneapolis, but they've been cited in all the towns on the highway. The highway comes right through here. They're making their way here. And I mean, it's just like every time you read that, your blood just runs cold. So it's like, God damn it. Yeah.
yeah.
It's bad.
They're everywhere here in Houston too. Like we see them all over the place. You don't hear about Texas much in the news, but we have a lot of ICE around here, helicopters, like all that stuff.
Their detention center, their concentration camps, a lot of their big ones are in Texas. Like,
yeah, we have some family detention centers and child detention centers here in the Houston area, and then we have Dilley, which was in the news recently. It's overcrowded, family type of place, and it's just the whole situation is just going downhill pretty fast. So yeah, you know, a lot of people are angry here in Houston, but it doesn't seem to stop them. You know, and that's the sad part. Like the Trump administration is just not listening to people. They don't care. You know,
That's their power.
yeah,
That's how it works. That's why fascism doesn't respect the normal guardrails of a functional democracy.
right.
And that was why no kings didn't work. That's why when we showed up with over 3%, it didn't work, because it doesn't mean they have to listen. They just ignored it.
Yeah,
They didn't even acknowledge that all of these people protested. They didn't even look. They don't care. They don't even care that their names are in the Epstein files and everyone can see it. They don't care. They don't care. At the
Yeah.
same
But you know
time,
what?
these
The thing
people-
at the same time,
Yeah,
sorry
go.
to cut you off. At the same time, I feel like they do care because they took the time to do it the wrong way. They took the time to redact things that they know should not have been redacted.
Yeah.
It seems like they
true.
like to bide their time and do all these stupid fucking tactics, and how they only have 4 computers and every, congressman had to log in their own login and they're
Yeah.
tracking all their shit. You know what I mean? I feel like they do care, but they're losing their shit because it's like about to
Ooh.
burst.
yeah.
Like they're delusional. I feel like
Yeah.
where
Mike,
Yes,
and
that's
that's
white
the scary
supremacy,
part.
the essence. Being delusional is the definition. Yeah.
my EU coverage was super interesting this week, because what's happening in Europe right now is all of these people are getting stripped of their immunity
Yeah. Yeah.
and investigated for what's come out in the American Epstein files, in France, in Norway, in
Yeah.
some of the Scandinavian countries. The former head of the European Commission saw his immunity stripped, and he's now being investigated. The interesting part about this, to your point, Natasha, is that they are worried if across the pond and in the UK they're getting rid of, if the rest of the world decides that we're gonna be accountable, we're gonna hold the people in the Epstein files accountable, and if the Epstein files really just is everything points to Israel, which it really does kind of look
Yeah.
like everything points to Israel,
It
which
does,
we
yeah.
all knew
Russia and
we
Israel.
were looking in the first place. But and then you look at what Israel's doing in the world, and nobody likes it. And it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for the rest of the world if they want to take it. And if the rest of the world holds the individuals in the Epstein files accountable, and it's an if, because the rich and powerful are rich and powerful, and we exported corporate fascism at a rapid pace
Yeah.
across the rest of the world, and it's a disease. If they do, like to your point, like that, it could burst, but there has to be, for it to work, there has to be some sort of outside pressure. They can't maintain the equilibrium everywhere else. If everywhere
Right.
else doesn't hold them accountable, the world itself, that pressure, that distinct difference, like if they arrest their diplomats and they're in jail, and their diplomat was the guy treating with Trump,
They're
the
gonna
people
sing.
in their country the entire relationship has to change. It has to change. And the more aggressive Israel gets, there's a lot of incentive, I think, for doing that. I think there's really, it's a web. It's all crazy and all these things, but this is all super tense, not just here, but I mean around the world, because Epstein was global. And I
Yeah.
think that's a really important point you make, Natasha, in saying that, is that they won't listen, but they're very nervous, and they're going to try and keep not listening because it's worked so far. So
Or it's gave them
Yeah.
more time,
Right.
because I'm
Yeah.
still holding out hope that some people will be held accountable in some way. Like I don't have obviously Donald Trump is fucking horrific. Anybody in the regime that's in there, please, because I think that's the only way to end this now is to completely get rid of the regime. So if we could find
Yeah.
like Stephen Miller, like maybe we could then have some sort of uprising. I don't know. That's like I still
Yeah, I mean, you know, with U.S. influence waning too across the globe, right?
Yeah.
You know, you see to Shane's point,
Fuck.
you see all these European countries and all these other countries taking action, and yeah, you know, if these oligarchs don't have that international support, eventually it starts to crumble,
Yes.
and at some point it's going to force us to do something, and if that's after Trump, then it's after Trump, but. You know, didn't Pam Bondi or somebody say not too long ago that if they prosecuted everybody on the Epstein files, they would collapse the system? Fucking
I think it was like
collapse
Mike Johnson or somebody who said that. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
like bring it down. Like
Yeah.
if it's built on that, then
Well-
it needs to crumble, right?
I'd like to quote Zoran Mamdani. If releasing the Epstein files collapses the government, then the government needs to collapse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
That's probably
Arturo-
where that quote came from, because I heard that
Yeah.
it's so stupid. I don't even know why this was a thing, but like the fact that Pam Bondi made that comment that the whole world will collapse, and then all of a sudden, like on Threads, they were like, Pam Bondi never actually said that, and like I just assumed, you know, something that she would say like stupidly, you know.
Right.
But like I
right.
looked it up and I'm like, I actually can't find any source that says she said that. So maybe that was just some stupid, but like that's just a whole nother point. But like how the propaganda
Well, that's
now is
true.
like seeping so far into progressive
Right.
circles that it's like I mean the way that we have to fact check everything, you know, as it was before, you know, 3 sources, you know, if you're in journalism or whatever, you know what I mean? But like now with all of the AI and all of the tech
Yeah.
bullshit, all the
Yeah.
propaganda, and essentially like I was talking about this the other night, but like another form of MK Ultra and mind control and
Yeah.
subduing, and like Soma,
Yeah.
like you were talking about,
Yeah.
Walter. It's all literally just for, you know,
It's overwhelming.
For those of us who
Yeah.
haven't had an opportunity to read what you're talking about, give us a little TLDR. Give us a little TLDR on what you're working on.
Me?
Yeah, about your MK Ultra. That sounds really interesting.
No, I was on a live the other night. It was a
Mhm.
Super Bowl night, actually. I went live because I just
Didn't watch that. Only Bad Bunny's halftime show. That's all I watched.
yeah. And I didn't even like see the whole thing. I saw like 2 minutes of it. But yeah, I just so like I had been researching Epstein and all of this stuff like 15-ish years ago or so, like a really long time ago. Before like a lot of people talked about it publicly, and I was learning about all of these things like mind control. Like it was literally kind of like a conspiracy for him, but like it had me fucking shook. But looking the things up, it's like, no, that stuff's actually real. MK Ultra is a CIA mind control experiment that existed back in the 50s through the 70s. And, you know, they literally were able to erase people's minds, completely reprogram them with different thoughts, make them, you know, essentially like sleepers. They can do that because they've done it. And it's like I was talking about all of this stuff just like ties in together, and with all of the AI bullshit and all of the techno fascists and their fucking, you know, wanting to turn humans into biofuel and shit like that. It's like they are literally, it's like a form of mind control. Like the surveillance is here to scare us, and it does scare us to an extent, whether or not, you know, we shut up or still, you know, stop talking, whatever. But like it makes you worry. You know, the things that we see on TV are meant to kind of like subdue us. And, you know, video games are like fucking Roblox is literally like meant just to find fucking children. And, you know, that needs to be looked into. But like all of these things, like in their own way, are like a form of mind control. Like whether or not we want to admit that the propaganda or whatever doesn't affect us, like it does. Like I think there's things that we all felt we knew and knew that we knew deep down, but now that it's all coming out, it's actually like I never thought that these things would come out, you know. And it's like I thought I was fucking crazy back then, but it's just like I guess I was way too early. So it's just the mind control is a big factor of this, I feel like, and it's just causing people to lose their minds. You know, I'm looking at Reddit and seeing what survivors, not necessarily of Epstein, but just in general, are feeling and how triggering it is. And you know, some of the things that they were saying, like all of the things that all the darkness about the world that, I just thought about before and was so scared that it was, like, turns out that it actually was. Like, the world is just,
Right.
I wanna curl up in a ball. It's just really triggering, and it's like it's just so fucked up. So, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
I always say
that's
that people lack imagination. They lack imagination on just how horrific
Yeah.
and awful that people can be to each other. They just
You know-
don't even think about it. Just
That's by design. I mean,
Right,
that's
right.
not teaching U.S. history in schools because it'll make people feel bad about themselves.
just
And we
new
always overlook the
genocide.
fact that if we don't teach the truth, you control people then. You're only teaching them
Exactly.
a propagandized lie.
Exactly.
I mean, MK Ultra used things like LSD. They would give LSD to people and without their consent. And there's stories of people jumping out windows. It all comes, and it started with Project Paperclip. That was the project where they took the Nazi scientists,
Mhm.
after World War II.
And brought them,
Werner
yeah.
von Braun worked with the Nazis, and then he got us to the moon. And this
They're
is
like,
just
hey, you get a
something.
pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you get a Disney
Yeah.
special. You get Walt Disney, like, here,
Mhm.
here, kids. Here's Werner von
Exactly.
Braun. He's the guy that took us to the moon. And here's a picture of him with Adolf Hitler. I mean,
Exactly,
forget-
right.
And that's how we get all our history in the United
Too funny.
States. I want to talk,
Which
and
is so
yeah, I
fucked
mean, like,
up. Man.
the Epstein
there's-
files goes back to 96, and that's what I was talking about earlier. Every single fucking attorney general is as corrupt as the one we have now. We
Yeah.
should talk about that testimony, though. What even day was that? I'm lost. Was that yesterday or was that 2 days ago? But Pam, no stick Bondi,
Oh
and her
God.
just off the rails. I mean, that was as unhinged as I've ever seen anything be. Like,
Yeah.
screaming about the Dow. I mean, oh my God.
I honestly, I haven't seen a single clip. I've seen a picture of her standing there. I have not seen a single clip, and I'm so glad because it's just, I feel like if anything is a distraction, that's a distraction. That's
Wow.
fucking theater. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, if they're using this coverage over in Russia and people are actually thinking like this is real, I'm just like, how what is this for? What is this clown show fucking for?
Yeah.
They know
Right.
that most of America doesn't believe their bullshit. They know that. So it's like, who are they performing for? Is this for propaganda to spread? And I don't, but then I don't know.
Well, because it's the first time I saw, because they're trying all their old Republican tactics. How dare you? Somebody had a video that was really funny. It was like a waitress, and it's like, have you apologized me for this difficult fucking order that you just made? I don't care if everything's wrong. And she's going out and like, you want a gluten-free option? Fuck you. And it's like, it was the Pam Bondi thing. But it's just like, it's just not working. I mean, in the past, because Americans are conditioned, when somebody starts pulling that patriarchal authority bullshit,
Yeah.
I'm going to be mad. I'm going to beat your ass. Like, the angry dad. At some point, you turn 16 and you're like, fuck you, dad, throw down. And I think America's there because it just seemed like after watching this performance, people are like, they're just not listening. They're just tuning her out. I mean, she has to be, this thing, I have to keep remembering not to say that word. She has to be unhinged, and she has to, because she can't answer a question because she's worried about perjury. So she has to go on this attack. And she wiggled out of every answer she could.
Yeah.
How else could you prove guilt? I mean, it's pretty clear.
How dare you? How dare
Yeah.
And you apologize to me?
Committing a crime.
How dare you? How
Of course
dare
he's
you?
honest.
How
Yeah.
dare you fucking give Jeffrey Epstein a sweetheart deal? How dare you?
Yeah,
How
she was the
dare
first
you?
one, right? She
Right.
was the first
Fuck
one in
up,
Florida
Pam
to do it.
Bondi. It would be easier if you just sat down there and did what Ghislaine Maxwell did and said, I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. I'm going to use my
Yeah.
Fifth Amendment rights. I'm going to invoke my Fifth Amendment rights, and I'm not going to answer any related questions to that
Yeah.
topic in any way. I literally was like, because I decided to roll American coverage into the EU. I try honestly, like, not to look at our domestic politics because it's literally become a reality TV show.
Exactly.
It's so ridiculous. I in fact, when I was doing the newsletter, I went and like I dipped my toe in, and I'm like, wait, is this really what everyone's watching right now? Because I've managed to pretty much extricate myself from America's newsfeed. I operate in, nonprofits and, these different analysis websites. I have different regional ones I go to. I don't look at the AP even. I stay away from anything that's America. If I want to look, I'll look at Canadian news. If I want to
so it's enough America just being here. You're like, fuck.
I don't. And someone says, "Oh well, the government said this." Why the fuck would you even? Why would you even believe anything that the government says? And the press works for the government because this is fascism. Okay, press works for the government. So why are you believing what the press says? It's like you gotta listen to people who are watching. It's like the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
So in the United States, no one could hear the booing when the United States walked out onto the for the ceremony.
Well, when they showed JD Vance on the screen,
Vance, there was 2 boos, right? One was for Israel, and one was for the United States and JD Vance. And in the US, they edited it so that you couldn't hear it. Everywhere else you could hear it. It was huge, massive.
Oh wow. Okay, that's what.
So
I
they
must have
sent
seen the
ice to
edited
the
version.
Olympics. And you see, it's very interesting because a couple athletes now, they've stood and they've been asked because they're asking the athletes. So there was this whole thing. Why are you sending ice to the Olympics? And so I guess historically it's not uncommon for them to send ice as like a security thing. Wow. But what's different now is that the world knows that ICE is a fascist militia that serves the president and doesn't actually operate as a government agency in any capacity. So like they're getting protested in Milan right now. They're shooting like tear gas and fire hosing people in front of the Olympics. Because also Italy's going through its own fascist takeover. That's a whole other thing altogether. But it's the world in that sense too. It's like the censorship. Like you see these athletes talking and they are choosing their words so carefully. They're dancing around the point of what they really want to say because behind the camera are some fucking fascist thugs staring down these people, making sure that they behave. And you can even tell in one case, this guy said basically nothing. He's like, hey, I'm here to represent my family. I'm here to represent my friends. Like, it's kind of tough to be wearing the flag right now. Obviously, I don't agree with everything that's going on. I'm paraphrasing for him, by the way, but this is the gist of what he said. And then Trump came out and called this guy a loser.
Yeah.
Our Olympic athlete. Okay. Didn't even say that like I don't believe in the regime. Like he's like, I'm just here, I don't really agree with what's going on. Loser. President calls the American athlete a loser. I mean, like the world is just this is just from anyone who's watching from the outside, it's not even kind of the United States. This is all a spectacle. It's all spectacle. It's all curated. We're not getting any kind of realistic story. And on top of this, all of the corruption is coming out around all of
where I like to listen to American news from is the BBC because it's just so funny, like the shade that they throw, but it's like actually just true, like they're like, Donald Trump said that the grass is green. But and then somebody will be like, yes, well, we see that the grass is blue, but Donald Trump, obviously, it's just like, I don't know, like I can't even do it, but like they shade the shit out of them.
The UK
they get more and more polite. The angrier British people get, the more polite they get. It's hilarious.
Right.
Doesn't work on me. I like to get them.
But like they actually are, they're doing fucking interviews. BBC reporters are here on the ground here interviewing people in Minnesota. It's like we're a fucking spectacle. Yeah. Nobody understands like how embarrassing like the entire world right now. It's just like insane. And I feel like we're the only ones that don't see it still.
Well, it's a human rights crisis. I keep saying we got to say these words. They're hauling off kids.
But they're not going to say that for quite some time because the U.S., Like this is
Yeah.
unprecedented. So we don't know how to handle this. We
Cool.
don't want to, it's throwing everything off because they still have to figure out how they're going to tiptoe around and, whatever. It's just, I can't.
Yeah. That's why we're so tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
What
know,
were you gonna say, Arturo? Go ahead.
well, I was gonna jump in on the curated news situation, because
Talk about
you know,
Cuba a
we're-
little bit.
yeah,
Give
because
us
we
that
see
context
that
we need to
we see that with
understand.
Venezuela, we see that with Cuba, we see that with all kinds of stuff. Like, they don't tell you that most Cubans on the island don't want to overthrow their government. They seek reforms, they want things to change, they want sanctions lifted, be left alone. But the only people they talk to are the white Cubans here, right? They ignore the fact that Cuba is a majority non-white country. I mean, it was a slave colony. What do you think, right? It's not a white country. And, it just pains me to see like all these people just buy into this whole idea that sanctions didn't do anything. It was all the regime's fault and this and that and this and that. And it's like, even U.S. institutions like the National Institute of Health and all kinds of different, oversight committees have issued report after report after report about the damages the sanctions do. And people like to argue, oh, Cuba can trade with whatever country they want, but they ignore the fact that Cuba can't buy anything with more than 10% U.S. parts in them, which is basically everything, especially when it comes to like medical equipment and stuff. So, yeah, you get these narratives in our media, and we saw it with Venezuela. We've had a lot of talks about Venezuela and uncovering the truth about that in the lead up to Maduro being kidnapped. And it's the same thing with Cuba now, and trying to fight back all these misinformed people and who refuse to read anything, who refuse to learn or challenge their thoughts. It's really exhausting at times. And it's the same thing with immigration, right? Like with these kids being kidnapped and innocent people, and you try to talk to MAGA and they believe everything that Homeland Security says about 70% or 80% being criminals, when it's more like 5% are actually criminals. So yeah, we live in a world of weaponized ignorance, and I use that phrase a lot, but that's what it is, right? I mean, people are weaponizing their ignorance, and that's driving policy, and that's kind of why we are where we are.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that's so driving me crazy, dude. It's one of the things been killing me. Like what was the low like in January, like that first week? I was in Texas in parts, it was like -20, right?
I don't know if it got -20, but we were pretty cold over here for a minute.
Okay.
We were in the teens in Houston.
So here's what I don't understand. This storm that the Southeast Texas, all this, like everyone in Texas, everyone in those places, they knew about it. Of course, it's going to hit you. You talk to anyone else anywhere, they don't know that over 150 people are dead. Because of this storm. They don't know that over half the states in the United States declared a crisis or emergency and asked for federal assistance. They don't know that FEMA was actually put to the test for the first time on a large scale, and it failed awfully, dramatically failed, to the point where there was only 900 personnel for 12 states, 700 generators for well over 100,000 people without power. All of this on semi trucks.
Right.
That
FEMA
were
doesn't have
supposed
money
to go on frozen roads. Sorry, what were you saying, Arturo?
I said FEMA doesn't have money.
That's exactly. But here's the other thing they didn't want people to think about. The thousands of people they had in canvas tents and warehouses that they had just purchased haphazardly and thrown people into. There is no way you put someone in a canvas tent and expose them to lethal temperatures, the kind of temperatures where people tear off their clothes, go insane, and die on Mount Everest, and you expose them to that for 3 to 5 days, even if they're in a facility that had power. You can look where the power outages is. It's all public domain, my friends. You can take you can geo fucking locate that warehouse or that prison or that local jail that they've co-opted. You can look at the reports that say that they haven't fixed their HVAC or allowed anyone to view them. And when it was viewed, it was a concrete hole that was overcrowded because ICE ICE, to Arturo's point, has been a shitty organization, a criminal and torturing group of people long before Trump. Okay.
Yeah.
You can look at this objectively speaking. Why is there a canvas tent camp with thousands of people in Texas where it was at some points negative 20 degrees for over 3 to 5 days? You tell me what the fuck happens to those people. I'm not gonna go ahead and I've looked into this way too much, and I'm disgusted by the apathy, by the lack of fucks given by anybody about the fact that this constitutes genocide because you rounded up people. You put them in effectively a freezer, or you just left them exposed to the elements. And what? What do you think is going to happen when you physiologically expose the body to what kills it? It just it's crazy.
Yeah, just to chime in real quick. I mean, that's not uncommon in Texas. Like we have prisons here without AC and heat. And ICE basically just copies that pattern. And a lot of times last year and the year before, when it got real cold and detainees would complain about it, ICE would go get a fan and point it at them in a cell with no heat. So yeah, I mean, it's cruelty. And then you have Fort Bliss, where people are in El Paso, and the weather in El Paso is extreme. It's either super hot or it could get super cold in the winter. And again, no AC, no heat. They're intense. So yeah, it's not uncommon here. It's shameful that we treat detainees like that.
I mean,
again, ICE was created under George W. Bush. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. When
so all those administrations are guilty from George W. Bush to now. They're all just as guilty. They've set it all up.
Been around? That tells you exactly how long that the president has been culpable, right? How long has AIPAC been in American politics?
I don't know.
That's exactly how long they've been culpable.
How long has it been? Do we know? Or do we? What's
AIPAC,
I actually don't have the answer to that question. No.
I think it goes back to like the 70s, because there was a couple of presidents that tried to get them listed as foreign agent, like a foreign type of organization, and never happened. So yeah, it goes back to like the 70s.
And then Citizens United came and just
right.
force magnifier of corruption. So
yeah.
Hey, my multi-billion-dollar corporation is a person. You need to treat me as a person. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
If you want to engage with me, you can engage with my lawyers that I have on retainer for $500 million a year. We'll do whatever I need. You're just going to need to be able to afford to go toe to toe with me. Yeah.
Natasha? What's the presence of ICE like in your area? Are they there yet, or
not yet? There's been some stories. Actually, let me post one of my most recent. So they're not. There's been rumors. I have not been able to confirm. I don't know if our governor confirmed. And back in September of last year, ICE was in Delaware. I mean, I know that they operate regularly, so I don't know. I don't know exactly the details of why they were there. But this man, Victor Acurio Suarez, was flagging down people looking for work at Home Depot or Lowe's, I think. And he just so happened to flag down an ICE officer who just so happened to be in their car in the area, which is just like super weird. Like, so obviously they were staking out because that's what they do at Lowe's and Home Depot. So, so anyway, he got scared because they approached him. I guess the one ICE officer called another officer that was in the area or something, and they both, I guess, like pulled up to this man who is developmentally disabled. So he has aphasia, and he's also autistic, and his brother is his caregiver. They both came here from Venezuela, I believe, back in 2021. So because they were trying to flee from gang violence, so somebody tried to set their house on fire, and I think they were both like beat up a couple of times. And so they came to the US back in 2021, the legal way. They've been through, the process, like every step of the way, like they, reported as soon as they got there and have been going through the process and doing their check-ins and things like that. to hopefully eventually gain asylum. And so not knowing that this man is challenged or disabled, I'm sorry, I don't know. Please like call me out if I'm not using the right terms, because
You
I'm
just say
ignorant,
like neurodivergent.
honestly.
It's always a good one. Like
Neurodivergent.
neurodivergent.
Yeah. So they arrested him, and he is now in ICE detention in PA, and he's so his brain doesn't function the way a lot of people's does, and he didn't even realize that he was in detention when his brother was finally able to either speak to the attorney or speak to him.
Wow.
He had thought that he was on vacation because they were feeding him and because he got to kick a soccer ball. And that's really fucking disgusting.
It is.
Yeah.
His brother is his caregiver and has to be there. Basically, somebody has to be there with him like 24/7. And so he's in ICE detention doing God knows how, because, we know that they don't give people their medication. They don't give a fuck
Right.
about medical attention.
Yeah.
And a judge tried to, basically, essentially signed off to give him voluntary deportation. So it's voluntary, right? Like you don't have to. But if he chooses not to, it's an automatic deportation, like no choice. So essentially there's no choice. You have
Right.
to go. And if they go back there, they're probably going to die.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucked
Yeah.
up. So that's like the biggest case that we've had, but that was back in September again. And our governor, Matt Meyer, has been advocating for his release. And also, he doesn't even have he can't even drive. So he doesn't even have a parking ticket. He has absolutely zero criminal record. His brother neither. Like they're perfect citizens, as most immigrants are. And so, the governor has been speaking out about it and trying to, get people on it. But I just feel like not a lot of people see this because it's Delaware, and, but it's happening. And we also have a law in place that they just passed last year proactively to prohibit ICE and law enforcement from working together. So it prohibits the 287G agreements. But that doesn't stop them from being able to work with ICE. Like, so
Right.
if they just don't enter into an agreement, which is exactly what happened in Victor's case, they just called local law enforcement because he ran under a trailer, and they said, hey, can you move this trailer so we can get him? And they came and did it. I guess you don't need a contract for that. So it's like, well, what's to stop them? Like there's still, so, the ACLU has been working, like trying to get people to push our governor to, legislate for that, so that there's just like no intermingling at all. But then again, there's NSPM 7, which, and so I'm like, does that override state and local laws because they say that they can use local law enforcement to help them? What about when it comes to ICE? Like, it's just all so messy. There's always like a loophole. So
Yeah, the thing with it too is Homeland Security has what's called fusion centers that ICE uses, and fusion centers are where data is shared between federal agencies and local and state agencies. And if you look at the data that's in there, like for example, they have data on 218 million people's utility bills. They have 3 out of 4 people's driver's license information in there. They can literally track anybody. They don't need local and state law enforcement agencies because through a fusion center, ICE can track people through jails, police records, utility bills, residences. Like
license plates.
this whole idea that sanctuary cities are something detrimental to the country is just ridiculous, because fusion centers essentially render sanctuary city policies useless, because even if your local police department doesn't want to work with ICE still has access to that local police department's data. And if there's an undocumented immigrant in a jail, they can easily go get them before they're released if that jail doesn't want to put an ICE hold on them. And to your point about not having an agreement, For example, here in Houston, the Harris County Jail, we've never had a 287G agreement with ICE, but we consistently hold roughly 2,000 migrants in our jail, in the Harris County Jail, on ICE detention holds. And the average stay is 6 to 7 months for no crime. There's no crime being committed.
Oh, yeah.
Crossing is not illegal. You know, it's, if anything, it's a civil penalty. And again, we're incarcerating people for no reason. It's like what was the girl? Mondo Weiss did an article today about some girl from Colombia who was at a pro-Palestine protest. She's been in ICE detention for 330 days. How is, I mean, you want to talk about political prisoners in Cuba? Let's talk about the ones right here, you know, because that's not, Cuba's not executing people in the street. We are, you know. So yeah, there's this whole weird thing. Yeah, it's just, this whole thing is just screwed up, and these fusion centers is scary because, you know, if, for example, you know, they're already targeting people because of the NSPM7, right? Anti-American, anti-Christian,
anti-capitalism. Are you
right,
anti-capitalist? You're a terrorist.
Anti-family values. I don't want a family,
like,
so I guess like, what does that mean?
Stephen Miller fucking scribbling down his family values chart.
Hates
exactly
Muslims, hates Latinos, hates democracy.
They can dip into a fusion center and get all the information they want about you, and, you know, track your cell phone, track everything, and they do, and that's who Homeland Security is. I mean, that's basically everything Homeland Security does. What you see ICE do, is, you know, with a blessing from Homeland Security. You know, Border Patrol, who considers itself a paramilitary group, which is scary to think about, that they think of themselves that way. They do it with the blessings of Homeland Security, and Homeland Security is an executive level, you know, branch of government that operates, you know, alongside the White House. So they're getting a blessing from the White House to do these things. So yeah, we live in a very weird dystopian society these days.
Yep.
And go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the extent to which people still aren't discussing this, and the thing I've been trying to do, I've been interviewing those candidates, and I talked to you about that before, Arturo, but I just bring them on and I'll ask them questions like, what assurance do we have that ICE agents aren't raping babies? You know, and it's like, what assurance? That's a completely legitimate thing to ask. What assurance do we have that they aren't raping and murdering babies in their detention centers? I want them, the candidates I talk to, I want them to have the debates. I want them, when they go around in the state, they have to answer these questions, because even when you see people that more or less agree with you, you'll be talking to somebody and they're like, agree. And then they're like, well, the immigration problem. It's like, stop. It's like, immigrants come here. Immigrants are more educated than Americans are.
Guess what?
Because the United States.
Guess what? You know,
go ahead.
Guess what? They traffic children from other countries and bring them here.
Yeah.
So what about those immigrants, the ones that are forcefully brought here to traffic, like all of the Eastern European women? And I found even women from Africa, and all of those, girls actually is the way that he worded it in the emails. So, you know, there's that. They don't want us here. Stop bringing us here. Stop trafficking. Stop creating fronts in Haiti and all of these other countries under the guise of helping children when you're actually trafficking them. How about, if you actually care about children and, you know, you're anti-abortion, how about you actually give a fuck about them and stop trafficking them? How about you stop raping them? How about you stop having sex with them? You can't even do that. How about you just stop being a fucking, like, a putrid human being?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the shit in the Epstein files about eating babies and shit like that. I mean, and that's the stuff we have to talk about, though, because again, it involves all administrations at this point. They've all participated in the cover-up. Go ahead, Shane.
I'm sorry. You're not. What you were saying is fine. I didn't want you to stop. I just eating babies, right? Okay.
Yeah.
In the files. People don't understand, and I just go back. The term conspiracy theory was coined by, I'm going to say this, the CIA.
Yeah.
The CIA created the term conspiracy theory.
True.
Well, let's see if conspiracy theory happened to be an MK Ultra, because
so
that's where
it's not a conspiracy if you have the data. I mean, if you have the files and the testimony and the survivors of this shit, it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's history at that point.
it sounds insane, right? But do you guys remember Pizzagate?
Yeah.
Where I'm going.
Do you
That's where
remember
I'm
the
going.
claims that they were making?
They were
And I'm
accurate.
going to say it now. I have never once believed that it was not real. I don't necessarily
Right.
believe I don't necessarily believe, although look again, I feel like we go over these things and then forget about them. And then we go through another like era every 5 to 10 years where we bring it up again. Remember back then it was like Comet Ping Pong, this guy, James Elefantis, and I went down a rabbit hole and this guy was
Yeah.
fucking weird. He had nasty pictures on his walls of naked babies and just the weirdest shit. And there was all these like pictures that he had of like these empty basement rooms, like torture cap. Like it was fucking weird and it was real and it was him. And I'm like this, I had learned about MK Ultra and all these things. So at that point I was like, sick to my stomach. I believed that Pizzagate was real. And then afterwards, eventually, like since then I had woken up and like became more progressive and like calm down a bit. However, there's still like things and people involved in that I do think are involved with the Epstein stuff as well. And I do think that those DNC emails, which are public, they're still there because I've been looking through them for the past couple of weeks to try to like put things together, because some of that stuff, honestly, some of those people who it's deep. It is
Yeah,
deep.
the Pizzagate thing, I didn't necessarily not believe that. What I didn't believe was this QAnon narrative that it was just Democrats.
Exactly.
There's no way.
That was the thing.
Right. There are certain things that transcend politics. That's one of them. Racism is another. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of things that are not political. They're just shitty. And I feel like QAnon was an op to try to get out in front of all this information that was going to be leaked out and to try to blame Hillary Clinton and Democrats. And look, the Clintons are in there. Like you said, let's talk about that real quick, Walter, about how these administrations for years, for decades, have been essentially covering this up. I did a live last night with Marlon Weems, right? The show with no name that we do.
Yeah.
And, Marlon is a former trader on the stock market, at the stock market. He was telling the story about a guy he knew. He still knows this guy who, like, way back in the day was telling him about Epstein stuff. And Marlon, and in the 90s, the 80s and the 90s, we all probably would have been like, man, that sounds a little over the top. You know what I mean? And then here we are a couple decades later, 3 decades later, and it's all true. And it's just like we were pretty complacent about some of these things. And because they sounded so extreme, because they sounded just so off the wall and just so deep, that we just kind of blew it off. But when you go back to Clinton, right? You go back to even before Clinton. We all know, like, Epstein was in politics, and essentially, whether you're in the Epstein files or not, every administration has some connection to Epstein, right? All these people on a personal level knew Epstein.
And they received donations from the other groups.
Who was it? Lutnick the other day.
Yeah.
I saw an interview with Lutnick. He was talking about how he went to Epstein Island in 2012 and he brought his kids and another family and nannies and all this and that. And he didn't know, like, bro, 2012, that was 7 years after he was a convicted pedophile. Like, why are you bringing your kids to his island? Why are you bringing your kids to that? Like, so yeah, that's basically what it is. This, again, transcends politics. You have Donald Trump in there. You have the Clintons in there. You have Obama's not in there. Right.
Well,
so
go ahead.
So far, so good. So far, so good.
Well, actually,
there's 3 million. So far, so good.
But it's not like his administration didn't turn a blind eye.
Yeah,
because the Biden administration could have leaked this, could have put this stuff out there. Hell, even Obama could have put this stuff out there. But they were protecting the billionaire class. They're protecting the people
during
who
Obama's presidency. So that you have to also consider that too, because he probably did have, like, I'm not saying it's right, but the amount of leverage he had in his life and probably was exerting control for his handlers over the government at that time too, right? Because like the 2008 crash and all of that was Epstein. We know that was Epstein. Left has put in all of that work. He's uncovered that for us. We can say objectively that that's true. So like, all of the problems too that Obama had to solve were created by Epstein, the economic crises that empowered the billionaires, that empowered the millionaires to become decamillionaires that empowered the decamillionaires to become billionaires, right? All of that was initiated. Like the amount of wealth they've accrued, if you think about it, it's not possible even through the means that they were going through traditionally. They had to create an environment where they could rapidly increase their wealth to a point where the wealth disparity was so obnoxious that they could create a parallel society. And they did that. They did that with the crashes. They did that with the .com. They did that with 2008. They went ahead and did that again in 2000 and was it 12? 2020, 2020. It's all it's literally like JP Morgan is at the middle. If you look at every economic crisis, for some reason JP Morgan comes out winning. Everyone else loses, but JP Morgan wins. The fact that Jamie Dimon's not in jail, Ellie Leonard unearthed evidence that they knew that JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon knew about Epstein's accounts, knew about them, signed off on them, despite advising from their internal legal people that they should cut ties with Epstein. And he still allowed it. Every single person in the people at JP Morgan in charge of trillions of dollars that have the ability to manipulate global markets by how they choose to invest that money are all culpable in facilitating the network through which Epstein moved his money. That is a verifiable fact, but they're still working. JP Morgan is fucking shitting on the US silver market right now. They're manipulating the shit out of our market. It's blatantly obvious because if you look at the rest of the markets around the world, if you look at rare metals around the world, they are on an entirely different level. They're maintaining the levels that we were seeing because the scarcity doesn't just randomly stop. Scarcity just doesn't just go away. If something is scarce, it doesn't just become abundant. Okay. But if you look at the timeline, again, this is another crazy thing. I don't have enough fucking time to publish any of this shit, but I'll tell it to you now. You look at the timeline, go back 2025. They established silver as a critical mineral under the United States government, under a stockpile, which allows them to allocate money to stockpile it. And then you see them come out really quietly with this new Project Vault, which is an initiative where they're mixing $10 billion of our taxpayer money from the U.S. Export-Import Bank, a relic left over from the 2016 administration by Biden, somehow made it all the way through his presidency, and now it's right here to keep doing what it's doing. Plus, as much money as Google and Meta and Alphabet and all the car companies want to buy into as well. So it's basically a slush fund paid for by us for the corporations. And then right after that comes out, that $12 billion deal, JP Morgan pulls some shit and the silver market falls out from under itself. And it's tumbled. It's falling. They're fucking with the paper. And now they're buying all of this silver, which is at a level of scarcity. It's one of the rarest things in the world right now. And it's also one of the things under the highest demand because of the electronics push. And somehow only in America are silvers like dirt.
I feel like Natasha was about to pop off there for a minute.
Yeah, let's let Natasha go. She wants to
I'm done.
That's
my story for you.
Walter, I wouldn't. Why the ESBC person? What they were saying, I feel like is true.
Oh, okay. It seems to me though, a little,
Obama.
I don't know.
I don't know if they were saying other stuff in there, but I'm just looking at the most recent things.
Oh, Epstein was a Democrat. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, he only has 22 followers. He can talk to you guys and justify himself. I'm getting quick on the block button.
Fine, no worries. But I like, if we look in them ourselves, right? Like everybody's doing such amazing work, but there's also like still so much in there that needs to come out that like pieces need to be put together because what I'm seeing is, I mean, it is worldwide. Like Libya is in there, and one of the banks wasn't Deutsche, but one of the banks was basically asking him to loan them money to sue some other bank or something. This was like the government of Libya or something. There are references. There's so many. If you look up the word Haiti, like that shows up a lot. Okay. And like a lot of it is filtered stuff because like not everything in the files is related to it. Like it could be just some, email that he got from like Old Navy or something. But
Right.
like, if you look up the word Haiti, it's in there a lot. And then there's this woman who, this guy who owned a Haitian orphanage in Haiti, orphanage, what like file a lawsuit against this lady who was like on Facebook and social media and stuff, like blasting him for being a predator, a pedophile, saying he's, you know, doing all these things to children in Haiti under the guise of like whatever. And this was like back in 2021 or something. And then 2020, and then I looked his name up. Last year, he was sentenced to 210 years in prison, so essentially life in prison, for running like sex trafficking and raping children in his orphanage in Haiti. For 30 years, he had been working there, and like nobody would
Wow.
listen. This was something that was in the files. So there's like little things like this, okay? Because like there's a lot of like, I don't know if you guys have heard of the Oxfam scandal. I just
Mhm.
learned about that. Do you guys know about that at all?
I don't
Very
teach us.
little.
Teach
Very
us
little.
all.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
So this, I literally just researched it like the other day, so I might be getting things wrong. But from what I understood is the Oxfam scandal. Essentially, it's kind of like a bunch of like countries or whatever in Europe that they kind of like, it's kind of like their own little NGO, like UN, like humanitarian type thing, but it's like only 13 countries or something like that. And it was found out that people that actually worked for Oxfam, so worked for these, you know, humanitarian places in other countries and stuff, you know, they were sent to do, you know, do work or whatever, you know, across the world. And come to find out, a lot of those people were raping children and trafficking children. And people in Oxfam, and this was like a huge scandal in the UK. So if you look it up, I think it was like back in 2018-ish or something like that. But like people in Oxfam are in the Epstein files. Oxfam is a bunch of European nations, and we know that there's like a lot of Eastern European women in the files. So like I'm saying all of
Yeah.
these things, like there's still so much in there that we could all like look
Yeah.
up ourselves, like just look up a keyword and it, like, I promise you're going to find something that's like, huh, like
Yeah.
there's a lot of business deals going on, a lot of countries involved in a lot of different things, and things disguised as, you know, Haiti or whatever. And, you know,
Haiti's a
hey, you
mess.
know, I'd like you to do a business deal with me. I want to open up a charity, or, you know, whatever in this country. Can you fund it for me? Probably a trafficking front, you know?
Probably.
Like, almost every single one is probably a trafficking front, because
Yeah.
every single person like, you can find somebody from every corner of the world in those files. And it's not even just those people. We also have the celebrities, because I just posted an article about it, but Michael Jackson is in there. And he had an attorney, sorry,
Yeah.
somebody was suing Michael Jackson and his estate, and they had evidence of child
Child.
rape, which is
Yeah.
actually in the files right now, unredacted. And there's a brochure of people for sale. It looks like naked
Jesus.
families. And that happens a lot in trafficking, is people will sell their own children. It
Yeah.
happens all the time
Yeah.
for money, the people in Hollywood. And so that's what I'm saying, is this person had Joe Tacopina as an attorney against Michael Jackson. Joe Tacopina stole that brochure, supposedly, allegedly, and never gave it back. This guy fired him as his attorney and wrote the FBI and said, I have serious information that could help explain information into Michael Jackson's molestation scheme, is what he called it. And if there's a brochure in there with families that looked like they were families in there, and it was like in a different language, and, you know, there's phone numbers like, buy this one, whatever. The shit is
Yeah.
like, it's deep
Jesus.
as fuck, but I want
Did he
people
kill
to see
himself?
things
Did
with their
Michael
own eyes.
Jackson really
in
kill
there.
himself?
Oh,
Did
I
he
didn't.
really?
I didn't even. There's not much.
I don't know
There's,
that that's what he
I
even
didn't
did.
see anything about that.
that's-
But also, Jeffrey Epstein really liked Michael Jackson. Apparently, he was like his favorite artist, and you can see in there. There's lots of like communication between people, getting them tickets to see, like, after his passing, like these Michael Jackson Cirque du Soleil shows and stuff like that. Like, you'll see a lot of that in there too. But this Joe Tacopina guy was also Trump's attorney up until 2024. And he allegedly is the one that stole this evidence from this guy.
Yeah.
and he was Trump's attorney.
You know,
You
this
know what I
makes me
mean?
think of-
So there's people in Hollywood. There's a
Yeah.
whole ring in Hollywood that we're not talking about. And I feel like it does sort of come out in waves. Like 10 years ago, this was like rumored and then it went away.
Yeah,
And then
the
there's
Me
the Me
Too.
Too movement and then it
Yeah.
went away. And it's like,
No real consequences.
we have to stick. We have to stick to it. And we have
They get
to
like
all,
Harvey
like,
Weinstein, and then it's like, okay, now that's taken care of. We got one guy. Now let's not talk about
Yeah.
it anymore. I want to talk
Right.
though, just briefly mention quickly too, like this idea of the conspiracy theories. Eisenhower, when he came across the concentration camps, he says we got to document this because they're going to say it's not true. And so, I mean, we shouldn't be quick to dismiss these stories because they're so horrific. That means we should be investigating. We should be
Yeah.
taking it. We shouldn't say just
Yeah.
because we hear them eating babies and people say, "Oh, that's obviously false." Prove to me that's false. now.
exactly.
We have
Yeah,
to
right.
see that's false. You've said it. It's been invoked. The slave era, the rape centers, all the horrible things. And it was the same thing. Brochures of human beings. That's happened throughout history. Historically, it has happened. And
Yeah.
yeah, we've just got a blind eye. Go ahead, Arturo. You're going to say something.
No, I was just going to say how this reminded me of the earthquake in Haiti, what, in the 90s or whatever. And, you know, a lot of kids were trafficked out of Haiti. They were separated from their parents and they were treated as if their parents had died or their parents had abandoned them when the whole time their parents were actively looking for them. And they shipped those kids to the United States. And a lot of those kids disappeared through a lot of these Christian charities.
Yeah.
So,
Fuck.
you know, and the Clinton
those
Foundation was
two,
part
those
of that.
two.
So it's when you mention the Clinton Foundation and then you see the Clintons in there and then you see all this other stuff, the brochures and
Are
the
they going to
trafficking and
testify?
everything, you have to wonder what happened to these kids, right?
Didn't
They
they
said they're going
already?
to testify. Are they going to testify? Is that a
I thought they
thing?
did.
What's
Are
that?
they already?
I
They
thought
They already
did already,
testified.
somebody I saw people saying like good for Hillary Clinton during her thing, but I haven't seen it.
So they
neither.
testified. That's supposed to be a bombshell. They're basically.
What I saw was an article saying that Bill was going to spill the beans. I'm like, well, why the fuck didn't he spill them before now?
Right.
But then again, I haven't seen
Immunity.
any actual
That's the only
testimony, so
thing.
this might just be more of the psyops, the MK Ultra bullshit, trying to get us
Yeah.
infighting
Okay,
again.
February 26th and 27th is what I'm seeing. So
Okay.
honestly, here's the thing. The only reason I can see the Clintons doing this is immunity. If you're the like
Probably.
and seriously, here's where I'm at. And it's fucked up. I don't care if they want to fucking live the rest of their lives as pariahs and we don't fucking respect them or treat them like human beings because they're monsters. I've been saying this a lot, but there's 1,000 people here, so I'm going to say it again. Stop calling monsters men. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah.
They're monsters.
Yeah.
You humanize them. You can't
Yeah.
deal with them.
Yeah.
You deal
Because
with
it's inhuman.
monsters.
Right.
You fucking
Eating
fight
babies.
monsters.
Fuck.
We don't fight people. We don't want to go out and fight people. Monsters abduct children and rape them, not people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop
Don't have a
treating them
debate
like
with
fucking
them.
human
Don't
beings.
try to understand them. Stop them. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is my fucking rant. They're monsters. All of them. Billionaires, when you pass a line, when your bank account passes a certain number of zeros, you become a monster because you
Apparently.
have chosen to hoard wealth to a point at which other people are suffering and you are not using that money. You are a fucking burden on society. They are a burden on humanity. These monsters just rolled back our climate protections. They're going to start fucking pumping coal emissions into our atmosphere. When the world, when the Guardian, when the scientific community is saying the planet is fucked, they don't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They don't care about your future. And they will kill every single fucking one of us if we don't start treating them like fucking monsters. So here's your rant. Stop humanizing them. They're going to kill us all. If you have kids, you better be willing to risk your shit because they are not going to live on a planet that you even fucking recognize. The UN came out. They said 6 billion people are in danger of acute water shortage and famine. 6 billion, January 29th. It's been fucking 3 weeks. Crickets, the Epstein files, they're bankrupting the UN. The UN is the only organization providing aid to millions of people in Africa. Africa is horrific. Horrific. They focus on Palestine. They focus on Ukraine. I get fucking irritated. I'm half Ukrainian. So when I say this to you, understand that I'm not just fucking saying this. Ukraine is not the only war in the world. Ukraine is not the only conflict. Do not send. Why have we spent $200,000? Why have people donated $200,000 to give generators to people in Ukraine when people are suffering in America?
Right.
You want to do something with your money? Don't fucking give it to Ukraine. The world is sending millions and millions of dollars of generators to Ukraine. I know because I watch this. Why are we giving money to help other countries when our country is destroying the world? What is going on?
Yeah.
What is going on in this community? I'm losing it.
Yeah.
We're fucking failing. This whole thing, we're following these cults of personality. You want to follow people? There is no heroes. There is no silver bullet. It's called courage, activism, and giving a shit.
Yeah.
You cannot do both. I disagree. There is no time to split your money. You don't have money. We don't have money. None of us have money.
Exactly.
So I'll take my breath. Thank you, Howard.
Good work, Shane. And I mean, and just in the United States, the delusion here, the apathy is what I continue to fight through. The indifference to the suffering, the denial of it. They'll knock you. I mean, they'll come and take your family away, and people deny it'll happen. Let's just not talk about that child that was taken. Is basically what we're at. That the Shirley Jackson's the lottery. That's the world we live in. But even that story was written 50, 60 years ago. And so it's an ongoing process. I guess we're awakening. This is the grand recalibration. But it's going to take overcoming this defensiveness because people defend wealth even now. Can't do it anymore. They're killing us.
I have a hard time, to Shane's point, why are you sending money to Ukraine, when we have problems here? It's just like, why are you worried about political prisoners in Iran or Cuba when we have them here?
Yeah.
Police are executing our people on the street. Yeah. Why are you worried about what's going on in Iran? It's all propaganda to take our attention off of what's actually happening right in front of our faces in our neighborhoods, on our streets. And it's just ridiculous to think that you're prioritizing foreign countries over your neighbors. It just doesn't make sense in any stretch of the imagination. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. I'm getting to the point of just being frustrated with all of this because there's so much inaction and there's so much just complacency and shoulder shrugging and just whatever, and I'm just, the way they're dismissing, the Trump administration dismissing the Epstein files, the way people are dismissing what we're doing to other countries. It's just all just so. And no matter how much you educate somebody, you can't get them to care. And that's the problem. It's the apathy, right? Like you said, people just don't care because they're just so used to, that's who we are. That's what we do. We harm other people. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's the attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? And just, they don't care.
Yeah. And then all the arguments against socialism, because they come out, and all that's built. Because all this money that's out there, the money we're spending on ICE, that could be going to help people. The $170 billion, it's like they never have money to give teachers a $5,000 a year raise. We can't afford lunches for kids. We think we're good people and we don't pay for our kids to eat. Yeah. We don't pay for education. The billions that all these people make, we have to bail out. Like I was saying, if Tesla was to go bankrupt, all of a sudden the taxpayer, that's a job maker. So the taxpayers gotta, pull their belt tight and bail out these industries. We've had to bail out the banks multiple times. And then people just refuse to accept that we can have a government that people don't use the power of the government to enrich themselves. We should use our taxpayer dollars, not to abuse and rape and torture and murder children, but to help kids. And instantly all that talk comes out. Well, you say,
that's the anti-capitalism in you.
Yeah.
Don't be too anti-capitalist.
Let's forgive student loans. But you should watch. Your social media feeds are overwhelmed by people who become enraged by the idea of forgiving student loans. But when the government gives $20 billion to farmers because they fucked up the whole global economy with their dumb fucking tariffs, There's nothing on social media about that. So
Nothing.
Natasha was talking about the social engineering. It's there. The
Mhm.
bots are
Yeah.
out there. And
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's why I'm quick on the trigger finger for blocking people. I apologize if I blocked
Yeah,
somebody
no,
unfairly, but I do that quick because it's
no,
like
I just
I'm
wanted you to
just
know though
overwhelmed by
that
it.
like look into what they said. Just like you can't question anything. And like I think Arturo, you were saying earlier, like it's literally I feel like there's a litmus test now. Like it should just be like, okay, well, prove to me that you're not a pedophile. I want to
Yeah.
see like heavy background checks instead of just assuming
Yeah.
that whoever you're donating to, that these organizations, even like the big ones, assume
Yeah.
that they're giving their money to humanitarian aid. A lot of that portion is probably going to all of these fucking trafficking things. I was looking, oh my God, I found something about giving some type of condom that had never been used to some area in Africa. So I'm like, they're experimenting with the type
They
of
are.
condom that who
Oh,
knows what's
fuck.
in that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
Human
experiment with
experimentation.
vaccines.
That's in the
and that-
files.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's been going on since paperclip, like you said, in the United States.
Yeah,
Human
but like,
experimentation's been
why
happening.
does Jeffrey Epstein, and every single person, it's just a complete like destruction of the entire world order and the entire globe. And
Yeah.
like, there's nobody to look to for hope anymore. There's no like, who is it going to be, like the UK? Like, there's nobody that was like America, and while we have never been
Yeah.
perfect, like there's supposed to be some, you know what? It doesn't even make sense, I guess. It just
Right.
There have
needs
been
to, like,
moments,
Lisa, I don't know if you
but-
guys talked to Lisa from Third State, but she's amazing. I love her.
We love
And she was
Lisa.
saying the other day that like she feels like the entire thing, like this kind of just had to happen. Like the Epstein files, like all these horrific things just had to erupt and have to be unearthed in order for us to just like, it's going to have to be completely wiped clean.
Yeah.
But that might
Yeah.
happen with climate change before we get a chance to do anything.
Yeah,
That's
a good point. Like I just want to say like that when your point about the world order, it's not going, it's gone.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
just to be
No, I
clear,
agree. I
like
agree.
it was pretty much at breaking point before Greenland, and then Greenland destroyed the world order.
I
Yeah.
would say
This
January
is
20th,
verifiable. You can
2025, 22nd, whatever.
Yeah, like this is verifiable. You can look
Mhm.
at the trade diversification going on around the world. The world is literally building a parallel trade network that pretty much excludes the United States. People
Yeah.
say the dollar will never collapse. Oh, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not that it will never collapse. Well, they all have everything in the dollar. There's no way. Of course, but guess what? That doesn't mean that they're going to allow a fascist dictatorship to dictate world currency. That's
Right.
a no-go. That is a big no-go. The other thing is our military is an aging relic. Look
Yeah.
at our Pentagon backlogs. Look at the orders versus deliverables. I say this all the time. Don't listen to what they say. Look at what they do. Look at
Right.
what they do. Stop listening to what they say. It doesn't matter. You know what I
Right.
can say is that our weapons backlog, we still owe $32 billion in weapons to Taiwan.
Yeah.
Taiwan, we haven't done shit for Taiwan. Taiwan is just as vulnerable as it was before. There's a
Yeah.
there's a massive discoupling between paper
Yeah.
reality and physical reality. The same
Mhm.
remains true in our economic data. Nominal versus real interpretation of data. GDP
Yeah.
growth in dollars does not translate to GDP growth for the average to wealth for
Right.
the average person. Let me give you an example. Right now, 50% of consumer spending is being driven by 10% of the population in the United States. Okay? 50% is being driven by
I got
10%. They can only spend so much. Like they only can consume so much. And they're not consuming all the things that we're consuming. Like if you look at our industrial purchasing managers indexes for manufacturing, I've been watching this since April. We're so close to the end, folks. It's coming. We're really, really close. And you see this on every scale, but the world order, America's not useful. Our power, all of the things we're projecting, the reason they haven't struck Iran is not because they're negotiating. It's because Iran has more missiles than we have fucking interceptors.
Yeah.
They gave all our interceptors to Israel so they could commit a genocide. And now they don't know what to do, but they've made a statement. They're acting up. So we're going to send another aircraft carrier. We're going to send 1 million jets. We're going to try and I don't know what they're doing, but they can't do it. And yet they're trying to act. They're doing all over the world. This is like the end of Rome when you're losing control of your empire. So you send your military out to scare everyone. The same remains true in the United States. When you start to use lethal force to maintain order, it means you are losing. It means you are collapsing. Like whether or not we end up getting rid of this regime, which I hope we do. But regardless, they are spelling the doom of the United States. Now, if we let them, they will spell doom for the entire world. So it's really important that we take back our democracy because our emissions are scheduled to blow past China's by a multitude of like 3 in the next 2 years. The reason they're firing up all these coal plants because they can't get what they need to build the energy they want. And their AI models need more energy. So they don't care. They're going to fire coal to get the energy they need to do their AI shit. You think these coal plants are going to bring down your cost of power? No, it's going straight to an AI data center. Like nothing's going to change for you. This isn't a positive change for you.
The white supremacy agenda, like we were saying, their denial of reality, their sense of superiority, their unwillingness to recognize any mistake, it's going to fall. And it's like, they're just trying to capitalize on their illusion of America, which has always been a lie, thinking that they're all powerful. Yeah, what are we going to do? Go back to the steam engine, and use that to take over the world, you fucking idiots? And it's like, like the superiority of like the guy who can't put 2 Lego pieces together. And the hate light bulb, Stephen Miller, who's got plenary authority. He licks his own eyeball. Plenary authority. Well, the worst of it is that they're also goddamn weak. And because we've had other weak people, the goddamn silver spoon Democrats, who are more interested in making friends with the most horrific child abusers in all of history than they are in actually standing up for something decent. Well, that guy seems really cool. Here's my Chuck Schumer impression. That guy seems cool. I wish people liked me. I wish he liked me. Meanwhile, that guy's off to his private island to rape kids. And that's what we're dealing with. So
Chuck Schumer also took Jeffrey Epstein's money, by the way. He also took Harvey Weinstein's money, by the way. That's a fact. Yeah. He eventually, once they called him out, he gave it, back to like charities that helped women. That's disgusting, actually.
I like to remind everybody that old fart, Chuck Schumer, has been in office since I was born. I am 52.
Exactly.
I am about to be 52. 1974, he got into Congress.
He inhabits like
nobody needs to be on the Hill until the day that they die. Like, get the fuck out of there. You've got enough money. You've got everything you wanted. Like, just fucking move and let somebody else do it.
When you consider like the Schumer era were the replacements of the Jim Crow era, like the Jim Crow lawmakers stayed in Congress, some of them until the 2000s. Until the 2000s. Why are Jim Crow lawmakers in Congress in the 2000s? Like, come on now.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
That's wild. That's wild. That's wild. That's crazy, actually.
It is.
They've just been voting against civil rights forever. Like they
don't go away. They don't go away because white supremacy is the denial of physical observable reality. So they just continue to sit there as a cancer until we get rid of them. But I mean, then they pass it on to our kids. So we don't respect science. We don't respect critical thinking in the United States. It's like me growing up. I'm like, the only thing that gave me any self-worth was doing good on tests. I got picked on it all the time until I got big enough to kick the shit out of the kids that came after me. But I'm still sitting there like, people would be like, oh, you're a nerd because you did well in this math test. I'm like, I'm going to remember you said that when you're working for me, fuckhead. And that would shut them up. And that's what we're at, but I mean, the United States, we have to invest in smart kids. We have to have education. The white supremacists always attack it. And the whole world, not just the United States, is moving away from critical thinking, scientific exploration, respect for experts. We don't see legacy media interviewing people who actually know shit about shit. We get some sanitized asshole who has more of a budget for his hair than I do for my whole fucking next 10 years of my life. And that's the guy we're getting our information from. So yeah, that's another. But I mean, we're here, and like I said, I'm so loud they can kick me off the internet. I'll just yell, and the whole world's gonna hear me because it's so you can't silence the truth, and more people are hearing it. So that's my rant for the day.
If they kick you off the internet, Walter, you grab your soapbox, you Superman fly to the White House, and you fucking stand there.
I'll
and
just
you
stand
scream
there.
your heart out.
I'll say, repent, Mike Johnson. You have sold your soul, sir. You will be meeting the devil, and you will not have a good thing to say. You will not be able to defend yourself, sir.
Yeah,
I was wondering if we were going to get a Walter crash out.
Any Democrat who's voted to fund Israel is a war criminal. Like seriously, like you want to fucking call Democrats heroes? No, Chuck Schumer votes to sell Israel, and Hakeem Jeffries. They took a picture with Benjamin Netanyahu, who's a internationally recognized war criminal by the ICC.
Remember Cory Booker over?
Yeah, I do remember Cory Booker.
Yeah.
I wrote a nice thing about Cory Booker, and then I removed it because I didn't mean it after that. I actually did. I was very impressed with his filibuster, but it just goes to show that it does. They're not the Democrats, like this whole like get in line with the Democrats. Is not the answer, guys. Like yesterday in my newsletter, Middle East newsletter, go read it. First thing I talk about is the use of hyperbaric weapons on the people of Palestine. These weapons, the words they use is they disintegrate people. The mothers, the accounts, there's accounts of mothers trying to find their children and only find scraps of flesh at a school. They're using hyperbaric bombs that are literally considered a war crime. Okay, like it's a war crime. Russia uses them still, and it's like a war crime. That's what the United States is providing them to drop on children. This ceasefire, it's not a ceasefire. Like Schumer recently said to support Israel. Schumer, by supporting Israel, is circularly supporting Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff because they want and are using Israel as a means to genocide and ethnically cleanse 2 million people to build a city that circumvents international law that exists for billionaires to do whatever they want with their billionaire money. And the Board of Peace is a means to destroy the UN. There's a reason the US is refusing to pay its dues for over $4 billion. The UN's going to be out of money by July unless the UN pays, unless the United States pays. Okay? So Schumer supports Israel. The UN's the only people trying to go in and support the people in Gaza. All of the humanitarian efforts at this point are the UN. USAID, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, they killed 2,000 people at the distribution points in Gaza. 2,000 people. Okay, you can go and find the footage of them shooting at these people at the aid sites. It's all public domain, all of it. And yet we're like calling Schumer, expecting him to do something. No, he's complicit in the genocide of 2 million people. Why do you think he's going? He is a fascist. He is a fascist. Hakeem Jeffries is a fascist. If you vote to support and supply Israel, which is apparently the heart of evil for the entire world, not even just you're a fascist. Like, stop giving me blue, red. No, there's like this. What we're learning with the Epstein files is that there is no Democrats, there is no Republicans. Kushner is a traitor for treason. He shared sensitive White House documents with Mohammed bin Salman, who then used those documents to arrest all of his competition and take over as an authoritarian in Saudi Arabia. So yes, he is a war criminal for that, as well as the fact that he is absolutely part of the genocide in Gaza. You can trace his family's money and donations in the West Bank all the way back to all of this. He's been part of this, him and Witkoff. But my point I'm trying to make here is Democrats, this is not, it's not that simple, folks. It's not that simple. Even if the Democrats take back the House, if our leaders, the Democratic Party, are complicit war criminals, and have consistently found ways to eventually let them do what they want to do, regardless of whatever. Oh, you shut the government down for 43 days. the government should still be closed.
Yeah.
That is all. You know what the people wanted? We don't want this government. Close it. We don't want it. Close
Right.
the government. We don't want this government. You want us to feel like you care about us? Close it and let the states do what they do, and let the people in the states who will realize very quickly in those red states that, wow, our government sucks even more than the federal government.
Right.
Yeah.
States.
We barely
were
gave
the
it any
first-
time.
States were
We
the
barely
first
gave it
to
any time.
fascism. It's
Yeah.
not the federal government. It was the states first. It was the South, because the South was never properly punished after the Civil War, because Abraham Lincoln was more interested in unity than actually dealing with the root of the problem, which was that. And where did the billionaire money come from? It comes from the people who built their wealth without paying for labor and were able to maintain and keep that wealth over time. That's what turned into the Heritage Foundation. That's what turned in all of our billionaires. That's what happened.
And also, a lot of them, I feel like, we have to look at every single aspect. So there's Hollywood, there's the politics part, there's
Propaganda.
the churches, Jerry Falwell, Liberty University, all of that shit, the things that those people were indoctrinated with, like at least back in the 70s and 80s and shit like that. It's, just part of all part of it. Like it's all of these people are like have culminated together, come together to like just do the worst of the worst, and it's like they're all in on it.
Yes,
they're all in on it. But the thing is also that we could say that they're fascists for supporting genocide, but can we also then call the Democrats who continue to vote to fund ICE, or who refuse to renounce ICE and say abolish it because it was rooted in racism from the beginning? Can we say that those people are complicit of ethnic cleansing?
I would
Because
say
right now that's what's happening right now. It's not a complete genocide, but we are ethnically cleansing and trying to get these people out of our country. And there are Democrats that are actively voting to continue funding that. So just remember that as well. It's not a Republican or Democrat thing. Most of these people are just fucking dirty at their core. There's a few good ones left in the Democratic Party, but they're being done a disservice by being there because they can't get shit done because they're being blocked by these people like Chuck Schumer and Jeffries, who are running the show and not listening to us. They know we're like banging on their door at the Hill. They know how we feel, but they're walking among us and just don't give a fuck.
They don't care.
They don't care. They're not serious.
I'll be right back.
Okay, Arturo. But then too, it's always so important to mention there is no counter messaging. There's no counter messaging.
Right.
They just come out, they just abdicate it. There's all this endless money, and we've talked about it a lot. There's endless money for hate speech. There's endless money for hate programming. You drive around, listen to the radio. Two stations are neutral. Here in this rural area where I live, 2 are neutral, and the other 20 are all just radicalized right-wing stuff. And it's only places like here, this small corner where we're talking about these topics in a way, and then we're just the fringe, and they push us to the fringe. They don't listen to us because it makes it so easy for them to be dismissive of us. Oh, those guys are nothing. And that's why I continue to say, help me get these other candidates, the new candidates, the progressive candidates, the legacy media, all the wonderful people here. Please, if you go to some sort of a progressive, see some progressive candidates speak, mention my name. A couple people have done that. Those candidates have reached out to me. They are frustrated too. And I mean, that's not the only way, but that's a start. The primaries are our first start. If we have to increase that messaging. We have to have a budget for rational thinking. The Democrats really should be spending their campaign money on people like us. I mean, Joe Rogan gets his fucking $100 million from who knows where. And all he does, he tells 80% lies. And then every now and then he says like, gee, how did we get here? Melissa Corrigan went on that. Melissa Corrigan had a rant where she's just like, we're here because you brought us here, motherfucker. It's like, we're here because you're an idiot. He doesn't know how to read a graph. If your kids are listening to Joe Rogan, make them stop. Stop giving money to people like Adam Kinzinger, who is always also supporting the status quo. The second somebody reveals themselves as your enemy, the second Gavin Newsom comes out and says, I'm not going to tax billionaires. Fuck that guy. No money to him. The second Thomas Massey comes out and votes for the SAVE Act. fuck that guy. That guy is not on our side.
Yeah,
All
he doesn't
these
care about
people,
women.
and when Pelosi goes and she pushes through, what's his name? That guy in Texas, Kulo, is that it?
Oh, Cuellar.
No, Kulo, wasn't it Kulo? No, Cuellar. But Nancy Pelosi pushed him in instead of a progressive. So fuck
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi. Fuck that Kulo.
Yeah.
Jerry Connolly,
Cuellar. I don't know who's that. Who's that?
the one
Jerry
who
Connolly.
died.
Which one? Oh,
Are you
that
talking about
guy.
the guy?
That they overcome Alex. They say Alexandria
AOC.
Ocasio-Cortez, you can't be on the oversight committee. We're going to put in this guy who is dying of cancer,
And then
he's going
literally
to be our
fucking died.
opposition against Trump. So that means nothing that these people did good in the past parts of their life is valid anymore because they've just betrayed us. And so quit
Exactly.
defending those people. Quit giving them their money. Quit supporting them. When you give money to Democrats and they hire James Carville to be a consultant, and he deliberately
It's a slap in
speaks
our face.
yes, it's openly racist. It drives people away, that asshole. And it's like they're going to ruin their whole strategy in Texas because Tallarico originally was going to be for governor. They were going to leave Jasmine Crockett, who is more qualified to be in Senate than
Absolutely.
Tallarico is.
Absolutely.
And then they changed it all just to oppose the black women. You know, we have to speak out about this stuff. So that's another rant too. Go
I knew
ahead.
that was going to happen.
I think
No, I was just going to say, I just knew that was going to happen. So
Yeah.
burn
let's
the
do it.
DNC and the whole Democratic Party down. Bring the good ones with us, and let's start something new, because I just don't
Yeah.
see how we
Primary.
can't continue funding these people and just voting blue, no matter who. Fuck them and leave them and forget about them. Leave them in the dust. They don't
And
matter.
bring them onto our podcast. We'll talk to them. We'll get these messages out.
Yes.
All of you people, you have to be part of this
Please.
because nobody else is going to help us. And it has been working. People they've been finding me because of you wonderful people talking to candidates, coming on. And then that changes the cultural narrative. That changes the national narrative. I listen to you. I tell it to them. They tell it to in their debates. And it's going to take a long time, but we are seeing it happen. Go ahead, Arturo. It's something.
Yeah, I like talking to a lot of the lawmakers, you know, in Congress, you know, like the Delia Ramirez's and stuff like that. Joaquin Castro, George Casar.
Good.
You know, I've had open communication with them for several years, and like they're good people. They're the good ones. You know what I mean?
Good.
Like they're not like these Chuck Schumers. Like just recently, Delia Ramirez was all up in DHS's face, you know, at that hearing, telling them how they've basically become, you know, the Klan. You know how they're just an extension of the Klan, and you know she's not afraid to say what needs to be said. And I'm tired of these. You know, you get like all these Hakeem Jeffries and stuff, and they're like, and I mean all of them, even Chuck Schumer, they're afraid to say certain things because they're afraid how conservatives are going to weaponize it against them. Newsflash, they're going to talk trash about you anyway. Say what needs to be said, do what needs to be done. You know, and that's all there is to it. Like this whole Texas thing with James Carville, and we need a white man. We need a white man to win. Meanwhile, they're ignoring that the last white man who won lost to a Latino, right? Yeah. So, like, you know, you need something different. You need to be able to get people excited. Tallarico is not exciting. Jasmine Crockett is. You can't win the state without the non-white vote. We're a minority majority state. So there's like 40% Latinos, 39% white people, and then, you know, then there's black people and a few Asians and stuff. And you know, to say that you need a white man to win and you need to keep doing the same centrist thing we've been doing since 1994, which handed power to Republicans, is ridiculous, you know. And then
I think that's what they want, though.
Yes.
I really that's what they want at this point. There's nothing else that makes any sense.
It's like the lack of imagination, right? Like if you think they couldn't buy the Republican Party, do you think they're not actively trying to buy the Democratic Party? Do you really think? Do you think you think the first thing they're going to do once they get in power is they're going to whittle down the Democratic majority? And they're going to, these people can say they're Democrats. It doesn't really matter to them if they say they're Democrats or not. In fact, it's like saying better for them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's better for them if they do say they're Democrats, and then they can say, oh, this is bipartisan. This is what the whole country wants.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to, like I said, there's no silver bullet and there's no heroes. Voting Democrat is not going to solve your problem. You know why Jasmine Crockett is so rocking? You know why AOC is so rocking? Because they're a minority woman. And minority women have no incentive to bow to fascists at
Yeah.
all.
Right.
Nope.
It
No.
does not
Right.
work out for them. So
Never have, never
No.
will.
right.
Okay.
Correct.
You back the
I
minority
trust them,
women because they are the they're the top priority for these fascists to shut up. They want to shut up the minority women because the fascists are trying to take away women's right to vote now.
Right to
now.
live. Their
And if
bodily
they do-
autonomy is gone already. Yeah.
And if they
Mhm.
do with the SAVE Act, if they pass it, okay, that's
Yeah,
the end of
nothing-
democracy. I want to be clear with you. The midterms don't matter if they pass the SAVE Act because that means they're going to start fucking with voter rolls. It means they're going to take all the women, they're going to throw them off the voter rolls. They're going to purge it. That's it. Because the women are the ones who are fucking fighting the hardest right now.
Yep.
And it's a damn shame. Shame
Yep.
on men. You're a fucking man. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
you're more likely to be pathetic and not in the street and just working your fucking job and making money than standing up for the woman who takes care of all that shit at home. Fucking don't show up to work and go and protest. Fuck you. Unless you're doing that, awesome. Good on you.
And
But
get
in
your
general,
wife some flowers
think-
tomorrow. It's fucking Valentine's Day. That's just, let me just throw that in there. Buy some goddamn flowers, people.
Something.
Oh, but can I say one thing that I've also been trying to push? I haven't started myself, but I just think like if there's a way that we can all, go to our local election offices, and everybody can probably volunteer or even get paid to poll watch and things like that. So we can start getting that ball rolling now because I think you have to sign up early for that. But also see if you can find out information about what's going on with the voting machines in your area, what type of voting is going to be going on. Like, are there any hiccups right now that they see could be an issue down the road? Like, so that those things can be reported. And so that like, if we don't have the power to do anything about it in our area, there are organizations who, are like, their whole purpose and they know all the laws legally about voting and our rights. And so, we can get those people involved if we see things early on, if there's a pattern, so that we can start being like, okay, yeah, we've checked all of these precincts and all of these states and each one has this weird chip implanted in it, some dumb shit, I don't know what it is, but that's what I'm saying is like, we have to get on that early because literally that's the only thing that's going to save us right now is if we are able to vote democratically the right way without being hindered, without these poll taxes, without disenfranchising women and Black people and Indigenous people and all of the people that they are trying to ethnically cleanse from this country. So let's like, I want to start doing that myself. Like just see if we can, whatever information you can find, if you live, like just find out about your voter rolls and what's going on at the Secretary of State level and all that stuff.
If you live in one of these areas that's been affected by these winter storms, where these concentration camps are, where these warehouses are, understand that they have a problem with bodies right now. They've got bodies. They've got a lot of bodies, and they don't know how to get rid of them. It's one of the reasons I think they closed the airspace. I can't verify it, but they didn't even let medical helicopters go. What is it that they don't want people to see? It happens that right in their airspace was one of the massive tent camps. And that was one of the most severely hit areas. I mean, so what? If you've got thousands of people laying dead and a small plane flies over, they don't want people to snap a picture of their smartphone. And they ended it early, right? Which is weird. Why would they close it for X amount of time and just lift it unless they were doing something they didn't want people to see? And they lift it. I'm telling you,
might be onto something.
Yeah, I'm telling you something happened, guys. I'm telling you that the math, I looked at.
Because what did they say? It was a balloon?
Yeah.
A drone. They said it was a drone.
Yeah. They shot down a balloon that they thought was a drone.
Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
That's
right?
that's some fucking bullshit. No.
It hasn't happened since what, 9/11? They haven't even fucking done that. So, there's something they were seriously worried about. And so my point here is that I did a lot of research. I'm still doing the research. This is a story that I think is one of the most important things I've ever looked at in my life. Like, I really think that this is a crime against humanity, and this will go down in history books if we catch it. But they will try and just let it go. They will just try and see they're keeping everyone on the Epstein files. They haven't reported on the storm. They don't want people thinking about what could happen. But if you look in these areas, I can tell you because I looked, because I've spent tens of hours at this point, there's people who accountedly died from exposure within miles of these facilities where people are in tents. Okay, so we have a physical analog. We know the conditions were killing people. We know it. So if you're living in Tennessee, if you're living in Mississippi, if you're in Texas, find these places. Again, it's public domain. You can find where all of these private prisons are. You can find the concentration.
Yeah.
Oh, go to Core Civic and
Exactly.
I think,
Geo groups. Just look up their websites. They're everywhere.
Yeah, I
I used
think-
to volunteer at one in Georgia, in Lumpkin, Georgia,
yeah,
Fort Stewart.
yeah, Fort
I think.
Stewart.
Is that what it
Oh,
is?
Who are the
Austin-
people that own those
Okay.
prisons? Who are the names of what are the names of the people that own those?
That one was Core Civic.
Yeah, there's Core Civic, there's GEO. Real quick though, Austin Kocher here on Substack, he's immigration data. I mean data. So he just published something I think 2 or 3 days ago that has all the private detention centers on there.
Wow.
And then I published that one thing with all the police departments doing 287G agreements. So the information is there.
Where is that? I would love, because I'm building a map. One of the things I'm doing right now is I'm building a map, and I'm going to be able to show the locations. I'll be able to show the temperature differential at different times. I'll be able to show the power outages.
Yeah.
And
Austin Kocher has the I think he said 270 or something like that. He has an article with a map on it. And
Austin
then
Kocher. Okay.
And then I've known him for a while. He does a lot of good work on the immigration beat. And then the 287G article that I have at the Antagonist Mag newsletter has a map as well to show you.
Yeah, those
and
things
most of the 287G agreements are in Texas and Florida. So I think we account for about 600 or 700 between these two states. So that's more than half. But
it's huge, guys. It's huge. And whether it was an opportunity, whether it was opportunity, and they just were like, might as well. Whether it was planned, I don't think it was planned. I think it was opportunity. I think they put zero effort into really taking these facilities because they're concentration camps. They don't care about the people. Okay, they're not prisons. So this whole dynamic, there's these gray areas too, right? They're building these it's intentional. They're stopover camps where you go there and then they move you around. They keep these people moving so you can't find them, so they lose them. And I'd point out that they've already successfully disappeared 1,000 people.
Yeah.
If you think they can't do that,
at least
then you're wrong. So we as people, as human beings that are not monsters, we cannot let this go and just disappear into nothingness. We owe it to the people who we failed to at least document their mass murder. We owe it to them.
Right.
It's not I'll say I'm 25. I voted for Biden. I never voted for Trump. I never voted for any of this. I didn't ask for this shit. I'm fucking dealing with it. And everyone, for better or worse, I hope you voted blue throughout your life. I hope you didn't vote for fascists. If you voted for him the first time, and you voted for Biden, okay, you learned your way. If you fucking voted for him, or if you voted for fucking Reagan, okay, you started this. You didn't look hard enough. And it might upset you.
Reagan was very closely tied with liberty.
But I'm 25. I didn't get a choice. I wasn't here. I don't want to live under fascism. I didn't ask for this, and I'm fighting it. But I didn't fucking ask for this.
I'm the same way.
Wanted to do everything that I was told in school I could do. I wanted a house. I wanted a white picket fence. I wanted some kids. I wanted to think that my future wouldn't be the fucking apocalypse. But here I am.
In the apocalypse. In the midst of the apocalypse.
I'm just asking you to fucking do something.
Yeah.
And if you can't physically go out there and do something, I always say this at the end of every report. The most important thing you can do is talk about the things we talked about today. Go out into your community and have uncomfortable conversations.
Right.
Have those conversations. You forge dialogue. You burn bright. You are the change. And interact with young people. This audience generally, it's an older demographic, not a lot of Gen Z. Interact with young people. Go and find them. Tell them about your life. Tell them about what you had. Tell them about the opportunity that they are being robbed of because they are intentionally unaware. I talk to young people all the time, and they seem to think they're going to be millionaires. They're not. They're deluded. They have no idea. They think they are fed a curated stream of information that is, all these advertisements. Again, they target my demographic. I get the YouTube ads.
Yeah.
If you're not working in tech, you're not going to make over $200,000 a year.
Oh my gosh. It's like,
are you taking this AI course? AI is the future. If you don't know how to use AI, you won't have a job in 5 years. It's like, are you a man? These are the worst. Are you a high IQ male? And do you feel insufficient in your life?
I don't get those.
These strategies will help you navigate the world as a high IQ male. Dude, what the hell are you talking about? It's grooming though. Like this is they see these ads every day, even if they don't click on it. It's like MK Ultra. Okay, it's subconscious. They can do this to you. There's lots of science out there that says that this social media is really bad. It's really bad. Like, and
scientifically,
what is tech's mantra? Move fast, break things. Okay, and they did. They moved fast and they broke everything, and they're still breaking it. And I'll say this: I was watching some YouTube videos yesterday about AI. Okay, like a guy who does research on AI, these MIT, like the whole AI, like these large language models. Okay, they're not that smart, but behind closed doors, they're running AIs off of like 200,000 GPUs that have their own languages that they don't even fucking know. These AIs have already, I'm serious, these AIs have already managed to sneak out of their containment, seed themselves around the world, and they had a huge fire where this AI escaped and was trying to independently create itself by stealing its original code from inside of the company and getting itself out of it. Like,
have you seen this boy? Yeah.
Like, it's just insane. Like, they really are playing with fire. Like the Nobel Prize winning laureates, the people who pioneered machine learning and AI, not the people who are doing it right now. The people who, we're discovering it. Now, the abusers are the ones that have it right now.
The ones who anticipated it could be dangerous. They're all dead.
And the other thing is, if you don't think these crazy people are talking to a AI that they've created running off of 10,000 CPUs that have created their own AI, like the TESCREAL movement is real. They're trying to create what they call the singularity. They want to create a god. They are actually insane. Like, so if they're doing this, and they've done this in 3 years. There was last crazy study. It was actually kind of interesting, but they put a bunch of AI agents in Minecraft and they built a civilization. They literally built a civilization off of one command. The command was build a village, and the AI built a democracy. Also good for AI. I like that. Build a democracy. Maybe that's a good sign.
Bill Gates.
But it's like off of one command, it went and did all these things. So they don't control what they're doing. They have no control, and they are doing things they don't understand. And the danger of giving this AI, right? Once you achieve a form of sentience, so this AI they tested, they let it run for 6 hours. They told it to solve math problems. The equivalent of what it was able to do with these 200,000 CPUs in 6 hours was 14,000 years of human learning.
Oh boy.
Okay? That thing is smarter than anyone on the fucking planet because it's trained on all the humans, trained on all the data. If that thing was on the internet, they had it in a contained thing because apparently they need to contain these AI models so they don't escape. They don't escape onto the internet. What? Like what? This is no wonder they don't want regulation on AI. This is crazy.
No,
this is nuts.
Right?
This does not.
That's exactly why
for anybody.
They said we want to see far we can go. We want to see exactly what we can do. We don't care if it's fucking Godzilla and it destroys the universe afterwards. I want to be the first. I want to be the quickest. Let's do it. That's like the worst recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So guys, this is really dangerous. And I think if you take one thing away from today, like what we've all really shared is this is not like, this is
Bad.
more than anything. And it's really time to look really hard at what you think your 1 year from now is going to look like. And if it doesn't look like a fascist police state with, open policing and no democracy, one of the reasons they might want to go to war in Iran is to suspend elections. Like, understand that I keep saying this, but this is my last thing. I'm rambling. I'm sorry. But the reason you would see, if you look at everything the United States is doing, not from a perspective of trying to dominate, but from a perspective of desperation, it makes way more sense.
Yeah.
Way more sense. They are scared. They are desperate. They are losing. They're not getting the raw materials to build their machines and their plants and their energy. They don't want coal. I mean, it's not effective.
Coal.
Like, it's not effective. It's
The
their
burn
last
back in the
resort.
monitor, yeah.
They need to power up the old infrastructure because they can't build the new stuff. It's desperation. It's not them, oh yeah, we're fucking winning everything. No, it's not. Things aren't going as well as you think. I promise. They're not going as well as you think on the outside, which means we need to step it up on the inside. You got to have pressure from both sides. If we don't do anything, the whole, the world's got to step in and help us. No, all these other countries are dealing with their fascism too. Like, if we don't set an example, if we let our democracy fall to fascism and we allow the people in power, because look, the CIA should be abolished. I don't know what they're doing, but they're probably under these guys. Holy shit.
Yeah. There's no telling.
I don't even want to think about it. Right? But Arturo, you're covering election manipulation in Latin America like crazy. I mean, I don't think there's been any free elections down there, really.
Not in the last 2 years, that's for sure.
Oh boy.
So it's real. Like, this is it's all, pay attention to geopolitics and don't watch the sitcom, don't watch the fucking drama that's on Fox. Like, go outside, come to folks like us. Get your news from people who are going to give you a source.
People who actually care.
Yeah. Like, none of us are making fucking money hand over fist here.
No,
we do it because we care. We really care.
Yeah.
Like, this is a hardship. What we do is a hardship on us. We dedicate time because we care, not because we're being paid to do this. So, we're really committed to what we're doing, and so
absolutely.
that's one of the things too. It's like, I'm going to toot all their horns before I toot mine, but make sure you go and subscribe to all these folks here.
Yes. Before you do that, let me just say real quick, last week when I was talking with Dr. Stephanie Wilson, every time I was saying like death funnel, we just start dancing. Like, so let's just have a dance party for a second. So you feel like you got to fend off that fucking terror. And you too, Natasha, dance party for a few seconds.
You kill me, dude.
Dance.
You kill me with that shit.
Yeah, you have to do it. You have to do it to fortify yourself. We have to get our brains back in. Yeah. Punch it out. Oh, he's swinging.
Yeah.
Okay, you'll feel a little bit better. I dance in my car a lot lately. I also scream.
Do that. I do.
Right.
That I do.
I do that too in the car.
You do have to do it though. He's got the shield out. Yeah. Yeah. You guard the man next to you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, my dog's checking me out. He's like, "What the fuck's going on?" But yeah, you have to take a second. That mental health side of it. It can't be all doom and gloom. All right, Shane, go back to selling us. I'll keep dancing.
All right, guys, we're your shield against the mainstream media.
There you go.
We're here to block out the bullshit. So subscribe to these wonderful folks. Subscribe to me after you subscribe to them. Natasha is not currently in the Chiron thing at the top, so make sure you go to the recording where she will be linked so that you can get and find her as well. If you can, become a paid subscriber to any of us, and please do that, and make sure you dance a little today.
Yeah, dance.
Dance a little.
Dance the fascism away. Dancing against fascism. Woohoo! Dancing against AI. The AI will go away. Everything will be fine.
I'm gonna take my sick ass back to bed once we're done.
Oh, me too, I think.
You go to sleep, man.
Thank
We'll wake you up in
everybody, for joining us
2035.
today.
Yeah.
Guys, if you guys want to just say your piece, say goodbye to everybody, and then we'll wrap it up.
All right, Natasha first.
Okay. Well, I just want to say to you guys again, it was like so great meeting you for the first time. Hopefully this won't be the last time. I'm just like kind of getting active on here because I'm still not used to being in front of the camera. So, but like you said, I do this because I'm passionate about it and because I just care about humans so much and humanity. And I see that it's literally crumbling in every way possible. And I have kids.
Yeah.
And I don't want this world for them. So follow me. I have 2 Substacks, Truth She Wrote, which is my main one, but then I also have a breakout one that I'm going to start doing lives and things with. That's kind of more like politics related, but also like topics like MAGA friends and family and how to navigate those types of things about identity, race, things like that. So go ahead and follow me. Thank you guys so much again for having me. I'm so happy that you invited me. It was such a great conversation. And I hope that like we can all bounce these ideas off of each other because I've already got things that I'm about to look up after this conversation.
I would say I've got a million things in my head. You want to run something by me? I'll always give you some weird context that you probably didn't think about. Like, did you hear about what happened in Pakistan last week? Like, what the fuck? But like, that's my life. So if you're ever curious if there's a link, like just, and this goes for anybody. I have my email linked in,
perfect
in all my bios. It's in. So if you like have something and you're like, I encourage you all to do research. I encourage you all to do this. Anyone can do it, right? And I'm working on an open source. That'll be an open source document. That's just how I do research, the questions to ask, and all these things. Because, there's so many folks out there who feel really helpless right now. Like I've gotten some emails about people who, I don't know what to do. Like I'm older. I want to fight, but I can't. Well, leave it to the people who can fight, but you can always do something and research and whether you want to do it in the Epstein files, that's you can do it there. Whether you want to do it on the geopolitical stage, like message Arturo. Dude's trying to cover 12 countries. How many countries are in Latin America if you count all the way down from Mexico to like?
If you count the Caribbean, like 33.
Wow.
Okay, so this man's trying to cover 33 countries and ICE.
Yeah.
Send the dude an email. Say, hey, I would love to, like, I really am passionate about Ecuador. I'll check out the news and I'll send you the links. Like, I'll scan that for you. Help Walter. Help him source those people. Reach out to these politicians for Walter and help set up his calendar. There's so many things that you can do. If you want to volunteer, I need researchers like crazy. All right. I'm trying to cover the whole world in a week. Do you know how insane that is? Like, it's we need the help.
It's hard.
And the people who have the money, they're not helping us. So we need your help.
Yeah. They're deliberately oppressing us, really, is what they're doing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Trying to stop us.
Yeah. You can do it. Put a sign in your yard. Absolutely. Talk to your neighbors. You can do it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to fight on the front line. You don't have to go to Minnesota with a Viking shield and a gas mask. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Okay? You can
Safety
do
glasses.
a lot of things. They better not come to San Diego because I'm not the only guy with the Viking shield. I'll tell you that much. But it's one of those things where we need your help as much as when you show up here. If you've watched us, there's 1,000 people here.
Awesome.
If
That's
only
a lot of people.
That's awesome.
It's a lot of freedom.
half of a percentage of you are willing to help us out to do that work. Like I literally don't cover Latin America because I know Arturo's covering it.
Yeah.
But but I want to. I want to talk about Cuba, but I also have to talk about Pakistan and India and Sudan and Nigeria and Ethiopia and Egypt. And
Yeah.
So like
It's a lot.
we need help. We need help.
And not enough time in a day.
People
Not enough.
who
Yeah,
have
for sure.
money, they don't cover anything but the Epstein files. And it's like,
Yeah.
it, you know, like now more than ever, the whole world matters. So
Yeah.
reach out to Tasha. You know, Tasha's looking into those Epstein files, but she's looking into those farther back connections. She's putting that thing together with MK Ultra. She's linking it back not to the present, you know. So, I mean, if you think I'm whining, you can leave. I don't think anyone here thinks I'm whining at all. So
That's all we need. That's all we need.
you can fucking go.
Oh boy, we were just winding down. You want to get me all riled up?
I
again?
don't like fashion. Go away, Donald Trump. Will you please die? I hate Vance.
Y'all kill me.
Let's
look
let
forward to
Arturo
these
sell
every
himself.
day.
Arturo, you tell.
Man, you know, what can I say that Shane hasn't already? You know, I cover Latin America, I cover immigration, you know, justice type stuff, human rights. And yeah, you know, aside from, you know, we don't do the corporate thing. I tried the corporate thing. It felt dishonest. So I don't do the corporate media thing. I stay independent because, you know, I feel like there's a lot of context that gets left out of a lot of stories. So, you know, yeah, make sure you subscribe to all of us. If you can afford it, then become a paid subscriber. If not, you can support us by sharing our work, you know, amongst your friends, family, social media. The more you share it, the more we can get out there. And that's super helpful. All my work is free. Shane's is free. All of our content is free. You know, and we're supported by paid subscribers. So if you want to become one and support that way, what I like to always say is misinformation is free, but the truth is far too often behind paywalls.
Yep.
And that's why all of our content is free. So if you want to support that, here you are. There's 4 of us right here.
Yep. We had, and the diverse perspectives are so important.
Absolutely.
This week, Arturo and we were just comparing the different bot attacks we'd been getting, where like they would target Arturo based on what they thought, you know, his area of influence was. And I was like, we were just going through that in a note. And then I saw somebody else mention it. Because just what's out there, according to like what Natasha's been saying, the various mechanisms that they use, like my kids don't have a smartphone. They've been complaining about it, but I'm just like, geez, perhaps that's the reason that they're like well-adjusted, happy human beings.
Probably.
Like just, yeah, the amount
of
that it's
incredible artists. Like,
yeah, they spend their time drawing because they don't have a cell phone.
Right? But, it's true. Like, you know, don't get your kid a smartphone. Like I'm still addicted to that shit. I try, but like it's hard. It's really hard. And like don't get your kid a smartphone. Get him a paintbrush.
It is hard though, because there's a psychological aspect to it. Like, because almost everybody does, literally it can cause severe depression. Like kids are killing themselves when they can't have their phones, which is like crazy.
God, I didn't know.
But at the same time, like you have to just understand, like it's been programmed. Like we're all addicted to our phones and stuff. So it's like, how do we combat that and allow, you know, but make it less addictive? That's the problem. That's why we have all this legislation. I don't know if you heard about Section 230 and everything. You know, trying to make it so that they have to make things safer because they went fucking wild with it the second the internet came into play.
We need algorithms that promote kindness and reason and compassion rather than these algorithms that promote hate. But for now, the only ones who are promoting kindness and reason and compassion, it's right here. It's not the main media. And it's all dependent on your support. So yeah, please mention us to your representatives, the ones that aren't getting media attention. We'll keep those conversations going. We'll get a new group of progressives. We can change our government.
The heat on these politicians, ask them some real pointed questions. You let me know. I'd be happy to
I asked the guy the other day. The guy I interviewed this week, I'm like, well, if you had a colleague who had been credibly charged with raping a child, what would you do? Like in any kind of work situation. He was just like, his eyes got wide. But I go through that whole sequence. What assurances do we have that ICE is not raping and murdering children? What assurances do we have that detention centers are not concentration camps where kids are being raped and murdered? And we have to just talk about it. That's how we make this the national dialogue. We can't shy away from it. We can't act like
stop pretending like it doesn't happen.
And like I said at the beginning, the Democrats from 20 to 2024, how do we win this election? Well, Jesus fucking Christ, why don't you release the videos you have of your opponents raping kids?
It's really simple.
Maybe that would change the hearts of the electorate.
Trump wouldn't be in office if they did that. Trump wouldn't be in office.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want people.
I
to
wouldn't want him to see it
that,
either,
I
but
wouldn't
just
see that,
denying
but-
that it exists, you know.
it's something.
No,
something.
we're seeing the
Yeah.
files are having an effect, and like it's affecting
Yes.
not the national but the international dialogue. This is an
Yeah.
opportunity, folks.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and so,
it really is.
if you're in Europe as well, I get a lot of viewers from Canada, from Europe. Hey, Canadians, you guys are here all the time.
You
Let Mark
hosers.
Carney know you want them going through the files. You want them
Yeah.
calling all of that,
Yeah.
and you want them purging any Canadian official that's in the Epstein files.
International
like,
accountability.
If you're in America, like we gotta
By
put
the
that
way, Mark
pressure-
Carney's name shows up
yeah,
in
we gotta
there.
put that pressure on.
Everybody.
So
Not
that's
sure what for. but
we can survive what's coming if we have a functional society with a centralized government that can actually mobilize us. We are humans. We can solve problems. We can, but we have to solve the bigger problem first.
Yeah.
Also, if they're trying to open a coal plant in your community, go fucking stand outside that every day. Don't even let them go to work.
Yeah.
Put 1,000 people in front of that gate. I mean, don't let them do it. So it's on us. It's on us. No one's coming to save us. No one's gonna stop it.
Dance party. Go dance
So
party.
let's dance our way out of this fascist regime. We love you guys.
in the data
We
centers.
love you guys.
Yeah.
We'll see you soon in the next rant. And until then, burn bright, resist, and we will see you all later.